Welcome to Brown Girls Can, the podcast where black and brown brilliance meets real talk. This podcast is your safe space to be seen, heard, and of course, celebrated. I'm your host, Shateria, the founder and visionary behind the Brown Girls Can brand and movement. Every podcast episode, we're gonna laugh loud and dive deep into the stories, careers, and bold dreams of women who are redefining what's possible. Let's get into today's episode. Welcome back to another episode of Brown Girls Can, the podcast. I am your host, Shateria, and of course, I'm joined by another fabulous guest for today's episode, which is titled Brown Girls Can Be the Spark. I'm going to let her introduce herself to you all.
What a title.
She didn't know. The guests never know.
Yeah, that was a total surprise. So I am Tamara Steward, and I am the founder and CEO of Spark, the firm, which is my own company that I founded in 2023, and it has been quite a journey these last 2 years.
Listen, we're going to get into the journey. And I picked that title because I knew that she started an amazing firm called Spark the Firm. So before we get into her journey, we're going to do a toast. We always do a toast to a good episode. So let's cheers to a good episode.
Okay.
Cheers.
Cheers. Oh, nice. Okay. Real fresh.
Yeah. So, and we are sipping today Welch's sparkling white grape juice.
Yes.
I always ask my guests their preference, and
I said I am having an alcohol-free couple of months, and so please let's run this Welch's white grape juice because I'm trying to live a little bit better than I've been living the last several months.
And she said with a little cute strawberry.
I need a strawberry on the side.
So,
yes.
Baby, my guests don't come to play. Okay, hear me. So I made sure I had a cute little strawberry.
And I appreciate it. Thank you.
Her Brown Girls Can glass. Before we really get into today's episode, I want to talk about these beautiful canvases by an artist by the name of Evan Illustrates. Her name, that's her business name. Her name is Evan Diaz, and she is from Atlanta, but she's in Chattanooga. Her canvases and her artwork, she has stickers, she has coloring books. I'm trying to think of what else she does. I know she does commission work, but she does digital art. And what I'm going to do is I am going to give away for everybody that watches. You have to comment down below in the video. Let me see what I want y'all to comment. Spark. I want you to comment Spark, and whoever, let me see how I'm going to do it. I'm going to do a raffle. So, before the next episode airs, so y'all know these episodes air every Sunday at 6 p.m. They premiere on YouTube. So before the next episode airs, I'm going to do a raffle with everybody that has commented the word Spark, okay? And so whoever wins that raffle, you get to pick whichever one you want, and then we're going to see what happens with the next two canvases. So stay tuned for that, but we love you, Evan. I'm so proud of you. Keep going. Keep being proof that brown girls can be artists. Mm-hmm. So please, please, please don't stop. Don't give up. These are beautiful, and I want the world to know. So we love you here at Brown Girls Can. So we're going to get into the episode.
Yeah, those are beautiful. Yeah.
All right.
Okay, ma'am.
I don't even know why I wore eyelashes, really. She already been in here prophesying, talk about she need to put 225 on stuff because she think she know it's finna be years to come.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I feel that. I think this is needed. This is the first of many years.
Lord Jesus.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Okay, push your mic up a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that all right?
That's all right.
Okay.
I want the people to hear.
All right.
Okay, so tell us about your journey. How did you start Spark the Firm?
Well, I think I'll start with saying when I told my family that I was getting ready to start a business, they were like, we've been waiting for you to do this. Like, what's taking you so long? You've been talking about this for a long time. We're
Ain't
glad.
that crazy?
It is. It's like I think God sometimes puts these things inside of us, and we think about them and we contemplate them, but we don't always step out of our comfort zones to fully realize them and do them. And so we might talk to people about them. We might dream with people about them, but then there'll be an impetus. There'll be something that happens and you get pushed out of the bird's nest. And
listen, that push.
Listen,
you better do it before you be pushed.
Listen, please do it before you be pushed. I got the lumps, the bumps, the bruises to prove it. Like, just if you know God done told you to do something, just please do it. Be obedient.
Yes.
Because that push out that bird's nest is nothing to play with. No. Okay.
Better learn to fly.
And so it owning and I came from the generation where it was like, go to school, get your education, get a good job, retire from it. And I've had jobs where my mom was like, retire in the front door, die in the front door, like work this job for 40 years. And God just didn't have that in his plans for me.
Yeah.
And so, I had several corporate roles, several high profile roles. And then one day God was like, no, this is what you're getting ready to go do. And I kind of was like, ooh. It's like, it sounded good in my head, but it's like, for real? Like, I'm going to go do this?
When I tell you, when that moment happens, you almost, it's like a knee jerk. I don't know what the sensation is, but it's just like the stuff that you have been talking about and wanting to do. When it's time for you to put up or shut up and do it.
Whiplash.
It is crazy.
It is crazy. And so I was like, and I remember having a conversation with my husband, and I was like, I think I want to start my own business. And he was like, okay, is this going to be like some black girl magic stuff, or are you going to make some money? And I was like, this going to be some black girl magic stuff, and I'm going to make some money.
Okay. Tell him,
and
clock
I'm going to clock this to you,
yes.
and I'm going to make some money. And I told him, I said, give me a year. And if I'm not profitable in a year, then I'll go find a regular 9-to-5 job. Mm-hmm. And, I think the other thing that I'll mention is like, and this is why it's so important. I had a post not that long ago. When God puts something in you, you don't need to be having group discussions about it. If he gave you the vision, you don't need to be going to people. He wasn't in the room when y'all had the conversation.
Yes.
I had all these ideas that I had to have this much going on, or, it was going to take this long for the business to take off, or it was going to be, I needed 6 to 9 months of income, which I do think you should have, just in case it takes a minute to get things rolling. But all of the waiting I thought that I was going to do, it was not my experience. It was pretty much the time that I dropped my announcement. Like, I went to bed that night, woke up the next morning, and I had an email, can we meet with you this week? We want to hire you this week. I went to bed the next night, woke up the next morning, we want you to partner with us on this thing. And I was like, okay, God. Okay, so, like, you for real. Like,
right.
this is off to the races. This is not ramping up.
Wow.
We in this thing, like, throw you in the deep end, you're going to learn how to swim. That was my experience, and that's scary.
It is, but... Y'all know episode 1, do it scared.
Do it scared. Yeah. You got to walk by faith and not by sight. And for me, it didn't look like I don't have sight for how I'm going to pay my bills. It was, I don't have sight for how am I going to scale this. People were having conversations with me about how are you going to grow when I was 2 months old in my business. And I was like, how am I going to grow? I'm still trying to make sure I got systems. Like, I'm still finalizing systems.
And that is a good point. I didn't think about that. There are different types of fear.
Yeah.
Like when I don't know, immediately when I say do it scared, I'm thinking about just the initial jump. Mm-hmm. And I'm not thinking about the different types of, fear of, no, not how I'm going to pay my bills, but how am I going to grow this thing?
Yeah. And I think, and I have to testify a little bit. God set it up, and I am the kind of person, I appreciate freedom. Mm-hmm. And I think that I was built that way. I was born that way. And I think God knew, like, I have to give her a certain amount of freedom or she's not going to be as willing to go out here and do this.
He knows.
Like, he knows us, right? And so I was fortunate enough to have a spouse that was supportive of me,
Yes.
and could handle the household expenses on his own salary. Like,
Praise the Lord.
Praise the Lord. Like, we don't live beyond our means.
Yeah.
Like, we're not out here trying to keep up with the Jones or whoever else. Like, we stay within budget. And so I could take that kind of risk because I had that kind of support at home, right? But also, I had been pretty financially astute with my own savings and stuff.
Right.
So I had cushion.
Mm-hmm.
And so God created this environment for me where when I stepped out and I did it, I wasn't living hand to mouth where I had to take on particular clients or
That
people
didn't
align with my values just so that I could eat. So I never started from that place.
Yeah.
And that is a fear, unto its own. It's like, okay, God, how am I going to pay these bills? Like, that's a fear. But another type of fear is, am I ready for the success that is coming with the word that you put over my life? Like Moses, you finna be out here and you finna free folks. Who am I going to say sent me? Tell them I am that I ain't, right? So it's like, I'm not walking necessarily in my own strength. So when you see the manifestation of all of this stuff that's been spoken,
Man,
am I ready to be able to be responsible and steward that appropriately?
Jesus.
That. So I was more afraid of that. Like, God, I don't want to mess up.
Yeah.
I don't want to bite off more than I can chew. Mm-hmm. I don't want to fail. Not fail where I can't pay my bill, fail where I can't handle where you're sending me. I don't have the structure in place. I don't have the knowledge that I need. I don't have the help that I need. I don't have the infrastructure.
Yeah.
That was what I was afraid of, because like I said, I went to bed, woke up, client. Went to bed, woke up, client. I was like, okay, God. Like, I had a conversation with I reached out to 3 people before I officially launched. And I said, here's what I'm thinking about doing. I'm thinking about starting my own consulting company. I want to consult with nonprofits, governments, and corporations. I want to consult around project management, leadership, HR type stuff. I want to work on community engagement, things that are going to benefit people. I want to have an equity slant into that. These are the types of things that I want to do and the kind of projects I'm passionate about. And I also want to coach leaders, and I also want to do some paid speaking engagements. Do you think that there's a market for that? I had that conversation 4 times in one day with 4 different people who didn't know each other. And I remember leaving the house that morning. I said, okay, God, I'm going to have these conversations, and it's going to let me know whether or not there's a place in the market for me. These conversations are going to let me, like, this is going to be my signal if I need to move forward or not. Went to the breakfast meeting. She was like, oh my gosh, yes, Tamara, there's a need for that. When are you starting? I need to book you now. Went to the next meeting. Oh my gosh, Tamara, when are you going to start? I know you need a vacation. I know you said you're tired, but can I get on the list? I went to the third, like it was a call, had the third call. She was like, can you send me a price list? I was like, price list? This is a concept at this point. I don't have a price list. Like a price list. Like, I don't have a name. This is like me dreaming, brainstorming. What you mean price list?
Wow.
She was like, I need you to come up here so I can get you in front of people. I know people who need this right now. I had the fourth meeting was a dinner. Went to the dinner, and it was with a lady that used to be my boss at a company that I worked at. And she was like, Tamara, I know that you're planning on going. I was going to go visit my family over in, I think they're in Ecuador. I was going to Ecuador for like a week or 2. She was like, I know you're planning to go on a trip. She was like, but, I would really love to work with you when you come back. And would you consider taking us on as a client? And I was like I used to work for you, and you want me to take you on as a client? Like, you actually want to work with me? And I used to be an employee with you? And she was like, yeah. And like, we both cried at the dinner. And I got home that night, and I said, oh my God, like, I left that house thinking that I was ahead. And I got home that night, and I said, oh my God, I am behind. The next day, I filed the papers to incorporate my business. Like, I was not playing.
And right, you shouldn't.
Yeah. But I think sometimes we talk ourselves down. We get to the edge and we're ready to jump, and then we talk ourselves out. And I was like, nope. I said this morning when I left this house, how these conversations were going to go was going to let me know. And the demand was so strong. I was like, no, I'm starting this thing tomorrow. And I did. I got up the next morning and I incorporated my business. And so that was 2 years ago. And what a ride it has been.
How has the ride been?
Ooh, it's had ups and downs like a roller coaster. It's been Well, and I thought I would have all these like long moments where it was slow and I wouldn't do anything. That's not been my experience. You know, there have been times where I've been stretched and I've been stressed trying to figure out how am I going to balance it all. I've had to learn self-care, and I've had to learn that like it's not sustainable to go 24/7 even when it's your baby. Like you have to rest to get that clarity.
Yes.
I had to teach, my family and friends that yes, I do own a business, but no, that does not mean that I'm available anytime you call me to go pick up your mail or like run your errands or like no, like I actually do work and I do have clients, and it like it's not like I'm just free wilding out, in the middle of the day. So a little bit of boundary setting and stuff like that. But it's been exhilarating. It's been exhilarating.
That's good. What's been the biggest difference? Well, first, why the name?
Ooh, okay. So I mean, just in case you didn't notice, I got a little fire in me, right? So I'm a little fiery type person. And I was like, okay, God, like, I want a name that speaks to the essence of who I am, but also has meaning for what it is that I want to do.
Right.
And so I went to bed. I really think it was like a holy download. Like I went to bed one night and in my dreams, it was just like, and like I woke up the next day and I was like, ooh, Spark the Firm. But let me go back. Probably 2 months before I left my corporate job and got ready to launch my business, I was in New York City with my mom. I had taken on a girls trip. Girls trip we were supposed to have when COVID broke out. Like literally we were leaving.
Oh.
We were going to New York for a mother-daughter trip in March of 2020. Both of our birthdays was in March. We were doing the trip. And like the week before we were supposed to leave, like the world shut down.
Man.
No lie. So we still had this trip. It had been paid for. And so we finally got the trip. And we're at dinner getting ready to go to Broadway. And there's this woman sitting beside me. And, quite honestly, there were not that many brown girls who could up in the restaurant. Okay. So they're looking at us like, what y'all in here? Right. Like, how y'all in here? And so we just in there doing our stuff. We having a good time. And I done ordered a bottle of wine. Like we in there chilling. And so this lady's like looking at me trying to figure out like, who are these people? And I probably talk with a little twang because I'm from Tennessee and everything.
Right.
So she looks over to me and she's like, who are you? Where are you from? Like, what y'all doing here? And be like, oh, we're on a mother-daughter trip. Da, da, da. And my mom was just glowing and telling all my business and stuff.
She's so sweet.
She's something else. So the lady ends up telling me that she owns her own business in advertising. And she's telling me about the business and and I look at her and I said to this lady, and I think God set her by me on purpose. I looked at her and I said, wow, I always was intrigued with marketing and advertising. And if I could go back and do it all over again, like I would have an ad agency and I would own my own business. And I'm fascinated by that type of stuff. Mm-hmm. And that woman looked at me and she said, well, what's stopping you? You're young, you're beautiful, you're bright. She was like, if that's what you want to do, go get it. And so she told me to remember her name. So my mama and I go to Broadway. We hop in a cab. We almost get hit by a bus. Like we having all the adventures, right? We go see the Lion King. We having all the adventures. And we're flying out like another couple of days later. And I'm at the airport waiting for the plane. And I looked this woman up. This lady was a whole boss. And I didn't know it. She was the head of her own, like a partner in a major advertising company. She had been a VP at Macy's. Like this chick was on the board of directors.
Wow.
In Manhattan at the chamber. Like this chick was like
for real.
Like for real. And I was like, oh my God. And I was so inspired because she basically looked at me and she was like, what's stopping you? And I was like, I don't know. I got to go back and contemplate.
I don't know what's stopping me.
I don't know what's stopping me. And that's what I would ask the people that are watching. It's like, what is stopping you? Figure it out. Go get that thing. And so when I was thinking about naming the business, I was like, I want to challenge people beyond the level of comfort that they have. I want to light a fire in them I want to light a fire in people that won't burn out. I want to illuminate paths where people can see things clearer. And so I was looking for things that kind of spoke to that and also kind of the fiery nature that I have. Because, I'm kind of bold and I'm just like, what you see is what you get. I'm going to shoot straight. I don't got time to play. I'm very much that way. And so I wanted something that kind of spoke to that essence. And Spark just hit me in my gut in the middle of the night. And I woke up and I was like, Spark. And I was like, I don't just want it to be Spark, but it has to be Spark something, like Spark something. And I was like, Spark the Firm. And then I was like, okay. Like I'm sparking people that are firm in their mindsets.
Oh.
Yeah, people that are stuck in their
way.
mindsets. Yeah.
I always thought of it as like the business firm.
Well, it is also the business firm because
that's cool.
So I wanted that double entendre, So I'm a little bit of a nerd, so I kind of like to play on words, and
that's cool.
And that's kind of how I landed on it, and it just is a part of me. Like it's just a part of me.
Yeah, our businesses, they become us.
Yeah,
and that's so crazy because it does take on a part of its owner.
Mm-hmm.
Like in every business, you should see some of you
in it. Yeah.
And if you don't, there's something wrong with it. And you might want to go back and kind of look at the structure, look at how you started, remember your why. Sometimes when we can't see the owner in it, it's because it's a disconnect between the why and why you're doing it.
Yeah, you've lost yourself.
Yeah. So I can definitely see that. Yeah. Oh, that is so cool. I did not know that it was a double entendre.
It is.
That is so cool. How did we meet? First of all, let me say we're both GPS alum.
Yes, go Bruisers.
Go Bruisers. Here's to the girls.
Here's to the girls.
So I'm trying to remember.
Oh, I can tell you exactly how we met. So Miss Shateria was out here making these posts, and some kind of way we became friends, probably because of our shared GPS network. Although I am several years older, we're not gonna say how many, but I'm several years older than Shateria. So we probably had a similar group of friends, so we kind of became friends on social media. And then like it was a season where every time I turned around, she was out here putting these posts out, and it was like she was all up in my business. All up in my, and I was like, who is this chick that's talking just to me right now? Like, what is happening?
So funny.
And so I sent you a message, and I was like, listen, the way you've been up in my business the last couple of weeks, I need to look at you in the face. Like, we need to get together because I need to understand how you reading me this way. That's and so hilarious. We went to brunch because you were doing brunch Mondays.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Brunch on a Monday, which I'm going to start back doing them. And I'm going to do live brunch on Mondays on YouTube and Instagram and stuff. So I'm getting all the cameras and stuff together for that. But I do remember that. Yes. And what is so crazy is those posts, and this is why it's so important that you are obedient. Mm-hmm. Those posts, I was talking to myself. Mm-hmm. And so you never know who else is going through the same thing? Who else you're encouraging by encouraging yourself?
Encouraging, admonishing, challenging.
Yeah.
It wasn't just encouragement, y'all. She being nice with it. She was up in my, I was like, how is she doing this to me right now?
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. But yeah, so we met and then it just has become a friendship and a mentorship. I look at her as a mentor. She's out here doing big things. She invited me to a retreat. Mm-hmm. And I think that was that was like the second, during that time I was praying and I was asking God to like send me places that I could be exposed to like my next level of life. And so I had been asked to come to a conference in Nashville for women in business, and the tickets for that upwards of $2,000. I got to go for free.
Mm-hmm. Praise the Lord.
And so I went with my friend Ella. And then the very next week, I was planning on going to see Desi Banks. Was it Desi?
Some comedian, yeah.
It was Desi Banks. I was about to say Kevin Hart. I don't know why. It was Desi Banks. He was coming to Chattanooga, and I had bought my ticket. Me and my cousin were going to go. And she called me, messaged me.
I did.
And said, what you doing? What you doing? She just sent some eyes. This is the thing about her. She would just send eyes and be like, either what you doing or what you got coming or, And so we'll talk then. But she sent some eyes and I said, what's up? And she said, I have an opportunity for you. Can you be packed and ready by...
It was like the next day or the day after.
Oh, yeah.
It was like within 2 days. Like, I need you to be ready to go in 48 hours. That's why you got to stay ready.
Stay ready. And so she was like, I'm inviting you to an all expense paid. Just get there, come. We're going to have all the things. Now, when I say all the things, I mean all the things. We had a private chef. We had a house mom. It was amazing. How did you come up with that?
I did, and God told me to do it. So here's the thing, like, I know we say exceedingly abundantly above all that we could ask or think. But I don't know if that we necessarily are prepared for that.
I don't think so.
You know? And so I didn't have any plans to do any of that. One day God was like, I need you to bring these Black women business owners together. And I was like, okay. And he was like, I need you to plan this event for them. I'm going to meet them there. And I was like, okay. And I was like, well, who am I inviting? And where are we going? I was like, God, okay, where are we doing this at? I need a location. Like, I need like what you want me to do. And every aspect of that entire weekend was prayerfully curated. Like, it was literally a complete act of obedience. Man. He found the location and sent me to it online. People, you know, the caterer, just every aspect, everything from the bags to the gifts that welcomed people to the things that God told us, like the morning we were getting ready to leave to get up and go buy, that people actually needed while we were there, that we would not have known that they would have needed. Like, I mean, it was just like every single detail of that was prayerfully curated. And the reason why it's important to stay ready is because I had invited a lady, and she wasn't able to come at the last minute. And I was like, God, what am I going to do? Do I just not invite anybody else? Like, because I had prayed about you earlier and God said, not yet. And I was like, what you mean not yet? Like, usually it's a yes or a no in your spirit. Right. And so he was like, not yet. And I was like, what you mean not yet? But I went on, you know, prayerfully inviting the other people. And then this lady was like, I'm not going to be able to make it. She tried to push herself, but I was like, if you push yourself and do this, it's not going to be safe. It's not going to be safe for you to do a quick turnaround drive for 5 hours to get here and have like 3 hours sleep. I was like, don't do it. It's not worth it. And so I went back and I was like, God, what am I going to do? And he was like, remember Shateria. Now, call her now. And so when I sent you them, that's why I was sending you them eyes, because I'm like, look, I don't know what you got going on with the Lord over here, but he done put you on my heart, girl. Man. Can you be ready in 48 hours? And I need you to send me a bio and a headshot and a this and a this and a this, because I was still putting together my booklet, you know. And so, it came together. I will tell you, it came together beautifully, but I will tell you the other thing that was interesting to me. I always thought that my business life and my spiritual life were two separate lives. Okay? And yes, I value obedience, so I be trying to do what God tells me to do, like all around, right? Like I be trying to live right and do what God tells me to do all the way around. However, I still felt like my business life and my spiritual life were two separate lives. Like, yes, I am a Christian who happens to own a business, but I'm not like ministering in the business. I'm doing business in the business.
Right.
And when I went to that retreat, the way God curated it, where he was like, get up and go to the store and buy these things. And here's a list. And I mean, it was just weird kind of stuff like that happening, that I was like, God told me he was going to meet these women here. But like, jeez. I think like this might like be a spiritual thing. Like this might not just be a business thing. This might be a spiritual thing. And that was the first time where it became very apparent to me, no, what I've called you to is to usher my presence in business spaces.
Wow.
And I was like, oh, I don't know how to reconcile this. Like, how do I do that? Because most business places don't want you talking about God. So I'm like, how am I supposed to do that, Jesus? And that was the first time where I actually saw like the power of God fall in a business space. And I was like, oh Lord, like this is a part of what I'm supposed to be doing. And now I got to figure out, how do I reconcile that in myself so I can create space for you when I'm going into business rooms. And so it was amazing, but it was all an act of obedience for sure, because I couldn't have came up with all the stuff that went on at that retreat.
Man. And when I tell you, it was just good to just sit down.
Yeah. Well, he told me, he was like, my daughters are tired.
Ooh.
Like, I'm going to meet them there and they need to be filled like they're tired. And that morning that we went, God woke me up at like 4 a.m. and he was like, are you going to say what I tell you to say? And I was like, I'm going to try. And he was like, but are you going to? And I was like, but I got a slide deck, Jesus. And I was like, am I going to get to any of my slides? My slides look cute now.
Got unprepared.
And he was like, you might get to a few of them. And when he asked me like 3 times, and when I said, yes, Lord, I will say what you tell me to say, he started telling me the prayers that y'all had. He started telling me y'all's conversations. And so, everything, even from what rooms y'all were placed in, was all prayerfully curated. It was just a complete move of God. Like, it ain't had nothing to do with me. I was just a vessel that day.
Y'all, that mansion, it was so fire. We had a pool, we had a hot tub, we had an elevator, we had a movie theater room, a game room. It was 2 kitchens, a guest house for the chef.
Yeah.
We had walking trails.
Yeah.
We did yoga. I'm trying to think. And she brought in, this is how boss she is. She brought in speakers. Mm-hmm. And we had a photographer. We had headshots. The chef, of course, came with her team. Mm-hmm. Who else did you have?
All black women.
All black women. Ooh, it was so good.
All brown girls who could. Yes.
Oh, my goodness. It was just amazing. It was amazing.
Yeah, it was a blessing.
Ooh, it just was good to rest.
Yeah.
And I think that when she sent the eyes and she said, I don't know what you've been talking to God about, I probably was saying, Lord, I'm tired. Shoot, send me some rest. And there we go. The answer to my prayer. Yeah. That's why I always tell y'all, you are the answer to somebody's prayer. Not in the romantic sense always, but your obedience is an answer to somebody's prayer. So while I'm over here praying for rest, she's over here curating a whole dadgum weekend filled with the rest. So it was amazing. When is the next one?
Oh Lord, I'm praying about it. So here's the thing. I'm praying about it, and I've looked at some locations. Ooh. And so it's either going to be the fall or the spring. But I am praying. I'm like, Lord, okay, now, what does this look like? And how do I balance the rest and the solitude that especially women in high impact, high demand roles that are business owners and bosses, like people, they care for everybody else all the time.
Yeah.
And very rarely do they feel like somebody's just nurturing and pouring into them. And it's like, how do I curate that experience and take care of your daughters? Like, how do I do it well? And so I'm praying about, I'm praying about it now.
Ooh, I'm like, Lord, don't leave me out. Whatever you're doing in this season up to me. Don't leave me out. Don't leave me out. Don't leave me out. Call me. That is so good.
Yeah.
And she talk about me 2025. That's going to be a recurring thing.
Oh, Lord, I'm praying about it. I'm praying about it. Yeah.
And she also is one of the Brown Girls Can Festival sponsors.
I am.
So you will see much more of her coming this October. Brown Girls Can Festival. We are taking over Chattanooga. We're painting the city brown. So stay tuned for that. And I wanted to say thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. I'm so happy and pleased and proud to be a part of it. I cannot wait to see. I remember when this was like a little vision in your soul and you were starting to birth it, and to just see what all you've done with it so far, it's just been amazing. Your creativity is unmatched, and I'm excited to see what happens at this festival. I hope they ready.
I'm ready.
I hope you got some rest scheduled afterwards.
So what is it about sparking things that have never been lit before?
What is it about it for me, or what is it about it in general?
Both. Things that have never been lit.
Things that have never been lit.
Can you light things?
Yes. Yes, you can light things that have never been lit. God says, I will do a new thing. Right? And so that means that it didn't exist before he did it. And that's one of the reasons why I like fire, because it can be dark, it can be cold, and when you strike a match, there's a level of energy that's brought into a space that shifts the atmosphere. That's that is a part of the element of fire that I like to bring to things. And so for me, I think, what is it about it? It's exciting. It speaks to life and movement, which movement actually is not my word of the year. My word of the year is motion, which is a type of movement, right? But like we have to keep moving. We have to not be stagnant water. We have to flow. And part of that, for me as a Christian, is being in tune with what God is doing and where he's leading so that I'm in alignment, right? And so I think that's the part that's exciting about it to me. Maybe I'm a little bit of a maverick. Maybe I'm a little bit of, an explorer at heart, where I don't want to just be comfortable. I don't want to go along to get along. I want to go for new frontiers. I'm trying to get new territory. I told the Lord a couple weeks ago, I want everything you said I could have.
Right.
Period. I want it all.
Yes.
Unapologetic. Like, I ain't trying to dim my light. I'm not trying to play small. I'm not trying to hide my desire. Lord, if you said it's for me and I can have it, I want it.
How do you know what he has said is for you? Like, does he speak what we can have to individuals? Like, I was watching something and it said that when we have a strong desire for something, it's because God has told us that that's what we're supposed to have, or that's what we can have. Do you believe that?
Yeah, I mean, he gives us the desires of our heart. Okay?
Come on.
So we all were sent here for a purpose and to do a thing and to give him glory with our lives. And we were equipped. I believe that we were equipped with everything that we need from God himself to help us do the thing he put us here to do. I don't believe in a God that sent me in something and I don't have everything I need to be able to get it. I believe he equipped me with everything I need to be able to go do that thing. Yeah. Now, that don't mean it's always easy, and that doesn't mean that I'm not going to face struggles, but inside of me it's already something that's in there that might have to be earthed and, like dug out and unearthed and stuff like that. Now, that being said, I think there's two pieces to that. I think that one, there are things that are yes and amen, but may not be right now. So timing is a piece of it. Like I am a wife. At some point, God was like, yes, you can have a husband. I'm glad I found him when I did. I would not have appreciated him had I come across him earlier. You see what I'm like? The timing had to be right. There were things in me that had to be further developed and matured in order to be able to handle the responsibility that comes with that thing, right? So I think there's that. And then I think the other thing is, for whatever it is that God has me to do, there are certain things that he put in me from a desire standpoint to have the will to go after that thing. So I'm sure that there are books in me.
Absolutely.
Right?
There's a book in everybody. In my opinion.
I believe everybody has a story to tell. I don't know that I think everybody has a whole book.
That's true. I could the difference.
I feel like everybody has a story. I don't know that it's a whole like a whole book.
I could see that.
You could possibly cultivate it into one, but everybody might not have a full book. You might have a little ebook or something in your,
not an ebook.
A little ebook, a pamphlet. You might have a pamphlet.
Lord Jesus.
But I think that that's why we all want different things. Yeah. Because I think he gives us those desires. I have a cousin of mine that's like a brother to me. He's like, why aren't you ever satisfied? Like, you do well with your career. You got a nice house. Like, what else do you want? And I was like, I want everything. Like, but that's just a part of who I am. Yeah. God built me that way to not be complacent and not get satisfied, to be hungry. Everybody doesn't have that same ambition and drive and hunger. And so I think that's the thing that kind of lets you know. And then to the other part of the question is like, there are some things that I think that I want, that may not want me, or might not be the best thing for me. Right? And so I think, God actually, I have a spiritual mentor who lives in Texas, and the way that I send you eyeballs and you be like, oh Lord, God to see, is the way that he'll send me a song or something out the blue. And he called me probably about a month or so ago, and he said, God gave me a word for you. And I was like, oh Lord, what is it? Jesus, what is it? And he said, there are going to be some opportunities that come in the future, in the days and weeks to come, and your discernment is going to be tested. Just because, and he was like, all of the blessings and opportunities will come from the Lord, but he will be sharpening your discernment. Because if you choose correctly, the opportunities will come with ease. If you choose a miss, even though it's a blessing, if you choose out of alignment, it will cause heartache. It'll come with it'll come, but it's gonna come with heartburn and difficulty. And so I think, and he was like, and that's to test and to temper your discernment, because when things start coming your way, you've got to be in flow and in tune with the Holy Ghost enough to be able to check in with him and be able to say yes or no. Because things are going to always come at you, but everything might not be a yes. It might not be a yes right now. Certain relationships might be a yes, might not be a yes right now.
Come on.
Certain opportunities, certain clients, certain deals may be a yes, but they may not be a yes right now. Certain moves may be a yes, but it may not be a yes right now. And so you got to have discernment so that you don't operate out of alignment and operate out of the right timing.
Ooh, that's good. That's good.
And that's a hard place to be, because I'm like, I want all the opportunities. Y'all just heard what I said. I want everything, but I don't want them all at once.
Yeah.
I want them
when we can handle
when
them.
I can handle them. Yeah.
That's good.
Ooh. So, yeah. I see you marinating in what I'm saying.
I am. I knew this was gonna be this kind of episode where I'm saying a lot. I'm just listening.
Yeah, I think a lot of times we are not honest with ourselves, and we're certainly not honest with God. We think we can hide like what we actually want from him, like he don't know already. And I'm not talking about the sinful stuff. I'm talking about like things that are actually like decent things. I think we are afraid to name the thing.
In what way?
Why do I think we're afraid to name it?
Yeah.
I think sometimes our dreams are so big and so bold that we don't want to alienate other people. We play small for folks. We play small for people so that they can feel comfortable around us, especially if we find ourselves unequally yoked with people who don't have the same ambition that we have.
Yeah.
So we kind of temper down, and we're like, I really want. Like, I remember the first time I bought a luxury car. I wanted the luxury car, and I actually went to the dealership and walked around that thing, picked out the color I wanted in the interior years before I was able to afford it. I'm talking about like when I was still pushing my Honda Civic. Okay. I was out there walking around what I wanted.
That's right.
Like 7 times like the walls of Jericho. Like, I was out there walking around in the parking lot. So, I'm definitely one of those people, like, go see what you want.
Go drive
in it. Go touch it.
Go call it.
Go to the opening house and see what's going on up in there. Go envision yourself and imagine. Go visit that place before you're able to occupy it. And so, but then when I actually got it, and it was the same color, and it had the same interior, and I'll never forget, I was driving down the street, and God was like, go to the car lot. And I was like, right now? And he was like, you go to the car lot. And I'm like, why am I going to the car lot? And I went to the car lot. And this has happened to me a couple of times when I go do something, and then I'm like, they're like, what you do? What can we help you with? I said, I don't know why I'm here. I said, I'm not buying anything. I don't know why I'm here. And I'm walking around the lot, and I'm like, okay, God, you told me to come. Why am I in here? And I see this car, and I was like, ooh, I think I kind of like that. Can I see it? They were like, oh, we just marked that down. Like, that has happened to me so many times. This ring on my hand right here, I wanted to buy this ring when I got my first bonus from a job, and my mama called me a fool and told me I had only been on the job for 3 months. She was like, girl, you need to save that money. Don't be a fool. Don't go buy that ring just because you got extra money that you wasn't expecting. Ooh. And I was like, okay, so I didn't do it. She rained on my parade, y'all. Still love you, mama. And then one day out the blue, probably about a month or so later, God was like, go to the jewelry store. And I was like, go to the jewelry store. And I go to the jewelry store, and I see the ring, the same ring, everything. And I was like, man, I knew I should have got that ring when my mama told me I was being a fool trying to spend my bonus as soon as I got it. And I said, can I see the ring? Can I try it on? Perfect fit, didn't need to be sized. And I said, oh, let me see. What is the price? And then we actually just marked it down. And I bought it that day. And I wear this ring to remember, like, move when God say move. So I went and I ended up buying that car, and I was ashamed. I didn't want people, like, I didn't announce it. I didn't really want people to see me in it, because I didn't want people to think that I had changed or that I thought that I was better than, because I had just went and leveled up. And so, getting comfortable with going from one level to another is a reason why we don't always say the thing that we want. We feel like people gonna think we done changed up on them. And the Bible that I read says we going from glory to glory to glory.
Up and up.
Up and up and up. So it's like, how do I reconcile that? And now I'm just to the point, I'm too old to care. Look, we don't care club. Like, I'm too old to care. If you don't like what you see when you see me rolling down the street, taking my trip, buying my stuff, wearing my whatever
Come on.
listen, say a prayer for me, but y'all just gonna have to deal with it. Like, I'm done with trying to play small to keep people comfortable. I'm over it.
I never thought about that, being unashamed. And you know what? How crazy, how much of a slap in the face that would be
To God.
God, if we're ashamed at what He's blessed us with.
Yeah. Like, we're timid with it. Like, I was timid with it. Like, I don't want people to think I'm different. I don't want people to think I'm bougie. I don't want people to think, I think I'm better than folks. And some of that might be some like GPS, like private school, like stank, might be a little bit of my trauma peeking through, because I never did fit in anywhere. I was too black for the predominantly white girls in some instances. And then I was talking white and sounding white and at a white school in the black spaces. And so there was never really a place where I felt completely myself and completely accepted. There were always differences, there were always differences. And so I think I coped with that by trying to fit in. We all want to be accepted. So I tried to be, I'm a roundaway girl. I'm a roundaway girl. I just go to private school. That don't really work.
It sure don't.
It don't really work. But now I'm like, I'm a grown woman, and if God, first of all, this oil ain't free. And so, listen, this oil ain't free, y'all. And so at this point, if you see me dripping, if you see me greasy, I'm just going to need you to be okay with it, because this oil ain't free. I'm gonna need you.
That's a word.
This oil is not free.
That is a word. What would you say to people who have an issue with charging their worth?
Ooh.
Because the oil ain't free.
Oh, gosh, the oil ain't free.
So when it comes to people coming to you asking for advice or asking to book your services, how do you deal with charging?
Well, the first thing that I will say is that if you can't stand on your business, nobody else will. So that does not mean be a fool. You need to price yourself in the market that you're in. You need to do your homework. You need to understand what the going rates are for the types of services that you provide. So, if you out here charging $37 for a hamburger and you getting the meat from the food city, we gonna have some you know what I mean? Like, you need to price yourself accordingly for the business that you're in and the clientele that you serve. So do your due diligence and do your homework. That said, if you don't believe that you're worth it, when people come to me and they want coaching for stuff like this, I'm like, we got to get you in therapy. We got to work on your abandonment issues and your rejection issues and your self-worth that's been chipped away all this time. Because if you don't believe you're worth it at your core, you will not be able to stand 10 toes down and be like, no, my rate is my rate. And I guarantee you, and it has happened to me, where I have had clients, they were trying to be clients. I've had partners come to me and say, we want to go after this book of business. We were hoping that your rates would fall here and here. And I'm like, well, what gave you the impression that they would? My prices are based on market rates for what's comparable in this area, for this region, for this type of work. Well, our pricing methodology is based on this, this, and this. That's true, but you don't have the same economies of scale as I do, and you don't have the same expertise, and you don't offer the same level of concierge services that I do. That's why you invited me to come to the table with you. Because I bring something that you don't have. So you got to be able to stand on your own business.
That is so good.
Right? Because people will try you out here. I thought that as a Black woman business owner, owning my own stuff and picking and choosing who I worked with, that people wouldn't be trying to test my gangster or my Jesus. And people done tried to test my gangster and my Jesus. And you got to be ready to stand 10 toes down and be like, no, it is what it is. Either you want what I bring or you don't. And that's cool if you don't. God bless you and good luck. But they ain't going to be able to do it like me.
Period.
Spark. Clock that, right? I mean, period.
That is crazy.
That is
really
real.
will try to make you change your price.
People will try
to negotiate.
Yeah, like my price is my price, and there might be times where I can negotiate with you on some things, but on other things, it is what it is. And I have done the research to know that what I'm bringing to you is comparable with the market for what I offer. Mm-hmm. I'm not charging you $37 for a hamburger that I got the meat from Food City. No shades of Food City. I go to Food City. I like Food City. But if you charging me $37 for some meat that came out of Food City and I don't have no bison, I'm going to have questions for you.
A lot of questions.
Some 80% hamburger meat. Don't.
$37? Oh.
I just say it. You know what I mean? Like, because, there's some people out here who play themselves with the way that they run their business.
Yeah.
I show up. I'm for real about mine. And that's the other thing that I would say. If you don't take yourself seriously, nobody else is.
What are some signs that somebody's taking themselves seriously?
Signs of people taking themselves seriously. People who do what they say, they are consistent with it. They meet their deadlines and their commitments. They're timely. They have their business in order. There's a difference between a business and a hustle.
What is that?
What is what? What is a hustle? What is the difference?
What's the difference between a business and a hustle?
Strategy and structure is the difference between a business and a hustle. Strategy and structure. I could fall into a hustle. I could look up on a hustle. I could hit a lick and figure out how to flip some stuff and get me a hustle going. Okay? Mm-hmm. There's not a whole lot of strategy. Sometimes it's just being in the right place at the right time. Or it's having an idea and trying to figure out whether or not it's something that's sustainable. So I'm testing it out, right? That's a hustle. There's not necessarily a structure in place whereby we have systems to support said hustle. If I end up with, like selling frozens, it's summertime. I need a frozen in my life right now. Like selling frozens is a hustle unless you do it in such a way where you have a strategy and you have some structure. You got business processes in place about your measurements and how you marketing it and what the payment, point of sales systems are. Those are structures. That's the difference. But if I'm just knocking on your door and showing up with a quarter or 50 cents or $1 or whatever it is, that's a hustle. That's different, strategy and structure.
That separates hustle from business.
Yeah,
so
real
make
business.
Make sure y'all structure and strategy.
Because people show up in business situations with hustles and they don't speak the language. They don't have the systems. They don't have the strategy. They're asking you to partner or support or sponsor or invest, and they can't tell you what you're going to get for the investment. That is a hustle. That is not a bit. Like if you coming to me as a business owner, you're going to have some stuff in place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have your stuff ready, y'all.
And that's the difference between people who take themselves seriously and people who don't. People who don't take themselves seriously just show up and think things are just supposed to fall into place the way that it is. When, if you're not ready, like I had an organization, I had a government organization send me a request for a quote on Thursday of last week. Like out the blue, hey, we need a quote on this. Here's a scope of work. It was due on Monday at 12. Thursday afternoon to Monday at 12. If I didn't have structures in place,
you would have missed it.
And I didn't have systems already ready, I wouldn't have been able to do that. I would have just been picking stuff out the air, going to ChatGPT, asking how do I price for this. And I'm not knocking ChatGPT. It has its place.
That's my friend.
I call him my little boyfriend. I told my husband, I was like, if I'm ever going to have a boyfriend, his name Chat. I'm going to call him Charlie the ChatGPT. But that shouldn't be the brains behind the operation. That should be a tool to assist me in how I want to word something.
That's true.
You see what I mean? So the strategy, I got to be able to read that thing, compute that thing, and be able to say, this is what I would charge you for this scope of work. And then if I want ChatGPT to make it sound cute, then I say, hey, can you make this sound like I want this, Strategy and structure.
Y'all better is y'all writing this stuff down? Are y'all taking notes? Because I really should have had my notebook right here today. Good grief. Yeah. Strategy and structure.
Yeah.
What separates the little girls from the women?
Ooh. Self-control and trauma and trauma healing separates the little girls from the women. I can always tell when I'm dealing with a broken little girl. She doesn't have self-control. She doesn't know how to manage her emotions. She doesn't know how to manage her presence in a space. she reacts with trauma responses: flight, fight, freeze, fawn. So when you see those things show up, flight, people, they get upset about something, there's a disagreement, and they just get up and walk away, that's a trauma response. If they freeze and they just get stiff and they don't have anything, they shut down, they don't say anything, that's a trauma response. If they try to over please, become a people pleaser, overly apologize, they trying to make sure everybody in the room is happy and can't deal with conflict, that's a trauma response. It's called fawning. And then if they're ready to nuck if you buck, fight, which happens to be my trauma response of choice. I'm a fighter in the spirit. Like I was like, I'm from Peter School of Theology. We straight cutting ears off. Like Jesus can heal them later. Like I'm one of them chicks. Like it's something nearby me almost all the time. If you get what I'm saying. And so fight people who just want to knuckle up every time there's a disagreement.
Yeah, that's
a trauma response. And so when your broken little girl shows up in spaces where the grown woman needs to show up, the mature, the healed, the whole, the composed, the person who can say, I'm not pleased with this, but I still have enough presence of mind and clarity to see solutions instead of just problems. That's what separates the girls from the women. And a lot of us have our little girl surrogate showing up. Some of us showing up at 9 years old and 12 years old in grown people's situations. My mom used to tell me, get out of grown folks' business. Some of us need to tell our little girl to get out of grown folks' business. Yeah. Brown girls can.
Oh, my goodness.
You know it when you see it. Shateria, you know it when you see it.
Yeah, you do. You do. I can't even lie about it.
You know those people that are just always on social media airing out their dirty laundry and their arguments. They can't have a conversation with the person they have an issue with, so they just out here airing it all out for the whole world to know, and that kind of stuff. That's little girl stuff. They so preoccupied and worried what other people got going on, yet their stuff is not in order. I tell my mama this. We talk about stuff, and I'm like, mama, people who are jealous, people who are bitter, people who are overly consumed with other people's business are not doing the things that they're supposed to be doing.
Listen, I am enough to keep me busy.
Listen, if you're doing what God told you need to be doing, you ain't got time to be worried about what other folks got going on. I know I don't.
I say that all the time. I am enough to keep me busy.
It's so many things that need to be done on a day-to-day basis around here. I don't have time to worry about what you got going on at your house. I just can't.
Because if you are walking in purpose, trying to find people that's in alignment, trying to do what you're supposed to do, drink your water, eat right,
make your bed, mind your business,
clean up,
yes,
make sure the cars got gas.
Groceries in the refrigerator, all the things. Listen. Can we talk about this laundry that never goes away?
Every day.
Oh my gosh. And then you got to fold that stuff and put it up.
It never goes away.
I hate the folding part. Yeah.
Because we wear them every day.
Every day.
So even if you done got everything, you still got a whole outfit that's finna be
dirty. And don't live with other people because it just magnifies. You know what I mean?
And then forks be getting up missing. I don't live with anybody and my forks I think they have legs.
So you don't know what happened to them?
I don't. Finish this statement.
Okay.
I am proof that brown girls can.
I am proof that brown girls can conquer. Look at me.
Expand.
Oh, the way you looked at me was
because I thought you was. She normally has a furtherance, so I was waiting on it.
No, I was just giving the one word.
It don't have to be one word,
but that's what I felt. Oh. We can conquer, and so sometimes that means conquering ourselves. That negative voice, that chipped self-worth, that lack of self-control. We can conquer that. Sometimes it's new territory. We can go for the dreams. We can go for the hard thing. We can be bold with it. And sometimes it's like bravery and being willing to face the thing and overcome it. Obstacles, challenges, struggles. Like if it didn't kill you, you were able to conquer that thing. Ooh. And so I just believe that I am living proof with my story and the way my life has gone. I'm telling y'all, I'm a whole conqueror around here. I wish somebody like we getting territory. Like that's why I said I want everything God got for me. Cause baby, I done earned the bravery that I walk in, the courage that I walk in. I'm a whole conqueror out here.
I just told my cousin, we talked about dating and soft girl life and the soft girl era, and I said I believe that I have sown my seeds. I have earned soft girl because I be doing some hard labor. Like I be working. So I totally agree with that. When you have sown your seeds and you set your sights and your goals on, you know, that thing that's up above or ahead, if you done sown seeds, if you done put in the work for that particular goal or that thing, believe it, stand on it, and know that you gonna have it one day.
Yeah, and when you get it, don't be scared of it. Like walk boldly with that, like own that thing. Be unapologetic about it. Ooh, that's the thing. Be unapologetic about it.
I can't wait to be soft.
Now I'll tell you, I am a conqueror, but with my husband, I'm a soft girl.
See, that's what I want.
But I will tell you, I had to learn how to be one. I ain't gonna lie.
See, that's what I'm thinking finna happen.
I had to learn how to. I didn't know how to be one, y'all. I was so busy being like that chick, like that boss. Like I was that boss. That then when I ran up on a real man that was like, "No, I got this." I didn't know what to do.
That's gonna be me.
I didn't know what to do. I was like, what you mean? You like, what I'm supposed to do? And he was like, see what else needs to be done and just help where you can. I was like, help where I can. what you mean? What that look like? And then I kind of went back to him about 2 or 3 times and asked him, like, are you sure like that's what you want me to do? Just like make things nice and add unto you? Like that's what you want? Like I don't have to shoulder anything?
Oh.
And he was like, no, I got it. And I was like, oh my God, I don't know what to do with this. And then I had to go back and I had to do work on my self-worth because I had tied my identity and my self-worth to output. And then when the output started looking different, I didn't know who I was in the relationship. Because when we got married, I had my house, he had his house. So now I done moved in his house, sold my house, and now he telling me he got it. And I'm just going to like help. And I'm like, well, what does that mean? Like how much? Well, I got 5 on it. Like, what you want me to do? And he was like, he was like, just help. And I'm like, help how? What does that mean? Does that mean I'm not a good wife if I'm not like shouldering bills? And like, what does that look like? And then I'm like, wait a minute, why am I fighting for struggle? Hold on, Jesus.
Okay, because I'm looking at you like, wait a minute.
It was because I was so used to carrying certain things.
Yeah. See, that's what I think is I'm not going to speak it, but I just feel like I resonate with that because I have done it for so long. And whenever that man comes, just like, that's going to be a shock.
It was a shock to mine when he was like, no, I'm going to take care of you. I got you. Like, just help where you can. And I was like, what? How do I do that? And I had to unlearn some stuff and I had to process some stuff. And I had to be like, okay, my identity is not based on what I have in terms of productivity and output. My worth for him is based on how I cultivate peace and support, not how I pay bills and make money. Because I'm an earner, like I'm gonna make some money,
right?
So I was like, yeah, I got like, what you want me to do up in here? Like I done sold this house. I'm finna pay this wedding off. I'm finna do this, and this. Then what you want me to do? He was like, I got you. Like we good right here. I need you to be over here cultivating peace in the house and being like a wife for real, being like a helpmate. I don't need you being a maverick out here. You know what I mean?
That's hilarious.
Can you cultivate some peace? Can you create an environment that when I come home from being out here in the world fighting all day, that there's serenity and calm in the house and not attitude? Because you just as stressed out as I am. Can you do that?
Right. That I resonate with that so much because, like I said, I've done this for a long time, a while. But also, I just resonated with what you said about productivity. I think I am addicted to productivity. Because it's really, like when I was saying about the rest, the retreat, she literally had, and I'm not the only one. So when you are an entrepreneur, especially a Black woman who owns a business, we often, especially if you have bootstrapped, if you have not had the capital to start up, you have got it out the mud, literally.
Out the mud.
You wear the superwoman cape.
All the time.
We are taught that, like, that's a badge of honor, or and it's not.
No.
It's not. And so because we wear the superwoman cape and we have to do all the things and be all the things, it becomes, you look at like on social media, you looking at the likes, you looking at the how many shares, you looking at the numbers, you looking at the algorithm, and you become addicted to what can I produce?
Mm-hmm.
Was my day successful based on what I did?
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm having to learn, like, in real time, even with like doing this podcast, I'm making myself a schedule, like how many do I want to film, how many do I want to edit, and then I'm uploading them so that I don't have to do so much and I don't have to work as hard as somebody who, is doing it one by one.
Mm-hmm.
But that addiction to productivity is for real.
Yeah, it becomes an idol.
Yes.
It becomes an idol.
Oh.
So now you're not necessarily chasing what God told you to do. You're chasing what you need to do to get the next set of likes or the next set of follows or shares. And so you end up putting it in the place of what you need to be. So you're not beholden to what Spirit is saying, you're beholden to what you got to put out for this algorithm to stay up. So that becomes the thing that's driving your obedience. That's when it becomes an idol.
Oh.
And that is problematic.
Very.
That is problematic.
So I'm trying to break some stuff, some habits, and really, like, this journey is really about doing the work. Mm-hmm. Like, all the guests that come on, the titles and all the things that you kind of see they speak to a different part of you. Mm-hmm. So we've had a guest on about legacy, a guest on about being a mogul, a guest on about dating, a guest on about how you roll with life's punches. Her mom passed away. She found her mom during COVID, but she started a business and now she's, very successful. So all these different people have come on to speak to a different part of you, to speak to a section in your spirit and in your soul. And so I just implore you to save these podcast episodes, go back, listen to them when you notice or when you see that you need to do the work, because that's what all of this brand is about. It's about doing the work. Brown girls can be whatever we want to be when we've done what we're supposed to do.
Yeah.
So, any last words? What do you have going? How can they reach you?
Well, you can find me on Facebook and Instagram at Spark the Firm. That's my handle. Also online at www.sparkthefirm.com. That's my business site where I'm talking about the work that I do with companies and business. But if you're interested in retreats and some of the workshops that I'll be doing on a personal empowerment type tip, www.tamarasteward.com. That's TAMARASTEWARD.com. So there'll be some information out there about things that I'll be hosting in the future. So that's how people can get in touch with me.
Come on, 2 websites.
Yeah, I had to split it. God was taking me in a couple different directions.
Ooh.
There's the business and then there's the ministerial, and they do meet in some places, but some of the things that I need to pour into God's daughters, I can't necessarily do on a website that's geared towards corporate clients and government clients.
Yeah. I remember you asked me about that.
Yeah. And they have 2 different looks and feels. Like one is very, I'm selling from a business to a business, and one is very like, come get your soul nourished because you need your soul nourished. Come get your soul nourished because you showing up out here broken and, clipped and playing small. Like, come get your soul nourished.
Woo.
Yeah. So, I think if I had any last words, it would be get in tune and get in alignment and go for it. Like, we don't have time to waste. Don't let anything hold you back, and don't let anybody.
We don't have any time to waste.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Thank you for the invitation. I appreciate it.
You are welcome.
So excited to be here. Yeah.
Of course. All right. Well, that has been another episode of Brown Girls Can, the podcast. Thank you for listening. Thank you for joining, and we will see you in the next episode.
Take care. Bye.
Thanks for vibing with us on Brown Girls Can, the podcast. If you felt this episode, be sure to subscribe, leave a comment, and share it with your girl gang. You can catch us on social media on Instagram at Brown Girls Can the Podcast and on Facebook at Brown Girls Can. And remember, you are already everything you are becoming. So until next time, keep showing up, glowing up, and choosing you. Always remember that you can do anything.